as we heal from our misconceptions, it's important to understand what we should do, right? Rather than focusing on what we should not do. Focusing on what we should not do, demonizing ourselves and others in the process of healing only brings about more confusion. It only brings about more of what we're trying to get away from. As we heal, we're required to switch that focus into what we do want, right? Because we're trying to amplify the things that we do want rather than amplifying what we don't want. So that's why when we talk about manifestation and, there's that emphasis on how we're saying, how we're talking to ourselves, how we're talking about these things, it should always be in the affirmative, because that energy is being switched over to what we actually want. We're creating what we actually want. When we speak of what we don't want, we're creating what we don't want, right? Because our word, our belief, we're giving it more power, we're giving it more belief. Because our words are either going to extend in truth and love, or they're going to be projected in falseness, right? Either way, they're going to become a reality for us because we live through our own beliefs. But if the ego, if these negative things are have no power, if they have no validity, if it's nothing within itself, right? If the ego is nothing within itself, then we should not be giving it power by giving it, definition and understanding, right? We should be going away from that by giving the opposite of that, the definition and understanding that we're looking for. For example, when you're on your healing journey and you become triggered by something, by a situation in your life, and you act in a way that you look back and you didn't want to act that way, right? The solution is not to condemn yourself, to say, I did something wrong and keep, being angry with yourself. That's not the solution. The solution is to look to progress, right? And realize, okay, I've been triggered by this at this time, but going forward, I'm not going to let this thing trigger me. I've made so much progress. I'm doing good, have that compassion for yourself. Because as we're healing, that's what we're doing. We're switching our life to the affirmative. Self-doubt or fear of messing up or impatience is still living within that, that misconception, right? It's living within that lack. But we're learning to live in abundance, and abundance is within us, right? We are everything. So we have that abundance that we're looking for. So out of that abundance, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So that's what we do to get back to ourselves. We speak within our own abundance, right? We speak life over our life. We speak progress and have patience with ourselves and have compassion with ourselves. And when we do something the wrong way, we just correct it. That's it. We're moving away from the harshness. We're moving away from the judgment, right? Because we have all the time in the world to get this right. And it's not that we want to use all our time to keep making the same mistakes, but we want to use our time to actually heal, So we start to get acquainted with that peace, with that softness, with that vulnerability. We start to get real with ourselves, and getting real with ourselves is soft, It is breaking down the walls. It is breaking down the barriers. It is being emotional with the self. Because being emotional with the self is being upfront about how we actually feel, We have a tendency to hide feelings even from ourselves. But when we're emotional, when we let those feelings out, we're actually facing it. And we can actually use it and utilize it or change it, whatever we need to do with those feelings in order to make our lives better.